Okay, guys, so the battle everyone's been waiting on is finally here, and once again we have Shimano versus Daiwa. But it's not only that, there are several little sub battles going on as well. Now, of course, we have the new Zillion 1000 going up against the new METANIUM MGL, but we also have the MGL3 spool of the Shimano going up against the SV spool of the Daiwa. And if you've paid attention the last 2 years, Shimano and Daiwa have been fitting these MGL and SV spools into pretty much all but their cheapest reels. And we also have the SVS Infinity brake system of the Shimano going up against Daiwa's latest SV Boost air brake system. So the original plan was to take both of these reels last weekend and actually do 2 battles, one with a casting plug and one with a reel lure. But this is what happened. Now, I was actually able to complete the casting plug cast for the Zillion, and when I started up with the METANIUM, it started raining and it wouldn't stop. So I had to pack everything up and go home and wait till the next weekend. So this past weekend I went back out, and this time I started off with METANIUM, and I actually completed 5 casts with the METANIUM with the plug. And when I was dialing in the Zillion, somehow the casting plug got off the line like 50 yards out and I couldn't find it. And it was the only 3/8 ounce casting plug that I had. And I was definitely not gonna pack everything up and head to Bass Pro Shops and buy another one. But the good news is I was able to do the cast battle with the reel lure. And let me show you the lure that I used. This is a Cotton Cordell Big O crankbait, and what lure needs extremely long casts more than a crankbait? Now, this crankbait is not too heavy, not too light. It weighs about 11.5 grams on the scale, so right in between 3/8 of an ounce and a ½ ounce. So that's a weight that should easily be handled by either of these 2 reels. Now, before I show you guys the cast footage and go over the results, let's take a minute to just go over the advantages, theoretically, that each reel will have over the other. Now, both of these reels are so evenly matched on paper. I mean, they weigh exactly the same at 6.2 ounces. They both have 34mm diameter spools, but I did count 1 advantage for the METANIUM and 2 for the Zillion. Now, the METANIUM's advantage comes in the fact that it is smaller and more compact than the Zillion. Now, hopefully the camera will show you guys just how much smaller and compact the METANIUM is versus the Zillion. But the advantage for me is that I can swing these smaller and more compact reels a little bit easier and faster than bigger reels, even though they weigh the same. Now, with the Zillion, the first advantage for it is, of course, the T-wing line guide. Now, the METANIUM does have a big oversized line guide versus more conventional reels, but against the T-wing it is small, as you can see right there. Now, the second advantage for the Zillion is that it has a slightly lighter spool. Now, both of these reels have really lightweight spools, but once you fill them up with line and take off the respective weights of the spool bearings, the Zillion has about a 1 gram lighter spool than the METANIUM. So it's not much, but on paper that is still an advantage. So let's get to the cast battle footage. So before I show you guys the results, let's go over the brake settings for each reel real quick. Now with the METANIUM, the best setting was with 2 brakes on inside and 6 on the external dial, and the spool tension was set to just minimize the side-to-side play. Now with the Zillion, of course, the spool tension was left alone like it was from the factory, and with the Mag Force dial, the best setting was 8. Now anything lower would blow the spool up, and anything higher would short the cast by about 3 to 4 feet. So with that being said, let me put the results up for you. And as you can see, taking a clear and easy victory was the 2020 METANIUM MGL with an average of 132.5 feet, while the Zillion averaged 117.96 feet, so pretty much 118 feet. So you're looking at about a 5-yard or 15-foot advantage for the METANIUM, at least with this lure right here. Now I wasn't satisfied with those results for the Zillion, so I went ahead and I redid the casts, and let me show you that footage right now. So the second time around, the Zillion did just slightly better with an average of 119.21 feet, so like a foot longer than the previous cast. So still way short of the METANIUM, and let's go over my observations. Now with the METANIUM, it seemed like the crankbait just flew off the rod way easier and way freer than with the Zillion. And let me tell you what, I totally forgot just how easy it is to get really long distances with this reel. And what I mean by that is that you can just barely flick your wrist and it will send a lure a long way. So basically long casts with much less effort with this new METANIUM. Now, does that mean that the new SV Boost brake system is a failure from Daiwa? I'm gonna say no, and let me explain why. Now, last weekend, once again, I was able to do the 3/8 ounce casting plug test and complete it with the Zillion. Now, that was a different rod than I used this weekend, but this weekend I was able to do it with the METANIUM, and the cast distances were pretty even with each other, ranging from the mid 180s to the high 180s. But the real way to see if the SV Boost really works or not is to, of course, put this reel up against the old Zillion SV and see what happens. But unfortunately, I don't have that reel. I do have the STEEZ SV, and that's what we're going to do next for the Zillion. Is we're going to do a on the water casting impressions battle versus the Daiwa STEEZ. But in the end, it is what it is, and the Shimano METANIUM easily dispatched the new Zillion 1000, at least when throwing this lure right here. Now, if you want more information, especially on this 2020 METANIUM, go check out RX Angler's channel. He actually has this reel, and he just posted up a long-term review on the reel, and he fishes brackish and saltwater. So for all you guys who are wondering how the METANIUM will do in saltwater, go check out his channel, and he just posted up that review, I believe today. And he also bought himself an SB1000, which I'm sure he's going to do a review on as well. So go check his channel out. So to wrap this video up, I just wanted to go over a couple of things real quick. Now, the first thing is that both of these reels will be going up against each other head to head in the standardized testing system. And the second thing is that Daiwa did the same thing this year that they did last year and came out with a newer reel right after the Japanese fishing shows. So last year they came out with the STEEZ Air, and then literally a month after they came out with the Alphas Air. And I'm pretty sure that pissed off everyone who bought a STEEZ Air. Now this year they came out with this new Zillion with SV Boost, as well as the STEEZ Limited with SV Boost. But they've just announced the new STEEZ HLC, which stands for Hyper Long Cast, which has what they call a mag force boost. So yeah, needless to say that I'm pretty pissed that Daiwa did that, and I'm gonna definitely wait next year to see what they come out with after the Japanese fishing shows, because the Magforce Z Boost should be a much better caster as far as distance goes versus the SV Boost. Now I'm going to be doing a separate video on the STEEZ HLC, as well as another new Daiwa reel that came out in the near future. But until then, thanks a lot, guys.